So you see what has happened. Joe Biden, when this attack happened, those are being killed in their own cities, in their own houses, very brutally. What was Joe Biden doing? He hosted a party for his staff, doing a barbecue party he hosting. Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is an absolute puppo. Now for him, he has been so thoroughly exposed and he has no locus standi in what he's talking. That is a big lesson for us. Tomorrow we have a problem with Pakistan or China. We have to fight our battles. None of these people are going to come. Obama has done this nonsense in Gulf. He struck a nuclear deal with Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu kept on saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But Modi ji went to Israel and he did not go to Palestine, he came back. Next, he went to Palestine only, he did not go to Israel and he came back. So he's trying to say that we will de-IFN at least. The relationship with Israel has grown multifold. He was the first prime minister who was gone there. Otherwise, prime ministers never went because they felt that Muslims may get hurt. Maybe, Palestinians hurt, Arab world may get hurt. So our stand is that we support the Palestinian cause. But Modi ji is very clearly saying that the attack is not from the government of Palestine. This is an attack by a terrorist organization called Hamas. Terrorist organization Hamas is not Palestinian government. I think the last count by the time we are doing this recording, and it has crossed more than 1,300 dead on both sides. Still struggling. There are still hundreds of Hamas fighters in the towns. They're massacring people, they're raping people, and it's pretty brutal.
Namaste and a very warm welcome to the Nationalist Madarasi. This is Intellectual Exchange with me, Sri Marawan. In today's episode of the Intellectual Exchange, we are joined by Giridhar Mamiti. This Intellectual Exchange is powered by Smart for Bharat Foundation. To know more about Smart for Bharat Foundation, check their handles as well. Namaste Giridhar ji. Thank you for joining with us. It's a pleasure to host you, and I've been seeing your weekly roundups of international relations. So some things which the people or the world doesn't know, you discuss in your Nationalist Hub actually.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me and wish you all the very best.
Thanks, Ji. Thank you. Giridhar ji, so let's talk about, as you're there, so the international relations. So we'll be definitely talking about the Israel and the Hamas, the war which is ongoing between the Israel as well as the Hamas, I would say. Giridhar ji, give us the historical context, or before going into the historical context. So when did this erupt? When did this war erupt? In what signs did this war erupt actually?
So the latest war, of course, has erupted on the 6th of October. Or it's a Bath day or whatever, very important day for the Jews. On that day, they overran the border between Gaza and southern Israel. We have seen the videos how they overran. They had a very small force, and a very small force was guarding. The rest of them were still in their barracks. So you see their captain being, who's been, captured. And the rest of the soldiers were captured. They were still in their civilian uniform. They were not even the military fatigues. That means the actual border guarding was actually very thin people. So that they have taken advantage of, and then they have attacked in a very brutal way, in a very massive way. So it was, the post was overwhelmed, and they brought in bulldozers and they broke open the walls and, the fencing. About more than 1,000 Hamas fighters or Hamas terrorists have infiltrated into Israel, especially the two major cities, Sadrat and Ashkelon. These are two major cities which are very close to the Gaza Strip. So that's where they've infiltrated, and we have seen the kind of a mayhem they've unleashed. They've brutally killed hundreds of people, and then they've kidnapped hundreds of people. They've taken away young girls, mothers, children, old people. They've taken everybody. Some army personnel they've taken away. And of course, mass rapes have been reported. And we can understand the fate of the women that they've taken into Gaza. So this is too massive an attack before Israel could realize it was attacked. So even their Iron Dome, which is very famous to counter all these missiles, that was overwhelmed because they fired 5,000 rockets at a time, at a single time. They say 3,000, 4,000, big number. Whatever be the number, the point is the Iron Dome has certain limitation. Maybe it can handle 100 missiles. Maybe it can handle 200 missiles. But if 3,000 missiles come, how do you handle it? So that is a technique they have used.
Okay.
And the Iron Dome technology of Israel is expensive because you see, it's like you're running, let's say, a 100-meter race, right? Somebody's already taken off and he's going a certain distance. Now, if you have to counter him, you have to start traveling faster than him.
Exactly.
And then go and counter him. So it's very difficult. So these missiles take hardly a few minutes, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes before they crash into Israel. So in 2 minutes, what should you do? You should record. Your radar should be able to catch it, and then your counter missile should go and hit it, and you should know its trajectory precisely. It should go and hit. So the big challenges. So this technology costs you a lot. So the Israeli Iron Dome technology was expensive. So what these people did was $5,000, $10,000 worth of missiles they fired. 3,000, 4,000 they fired. Okay, you will shoot down 1,000. Another 2,000 will fall on you. That is a technique they used. So they, in a very sudden attack, in a very overwhelming way, they came and attacked. Israel was absolutely unprepared. So now we can say it's a failure of Israeli government. It was a failure of Israeli armed forces, Israeli defense forces, and the failure of the intelligence agency, which is Mossad. Mossad should have expected, because the last attack happened in 2021. So 2 years have happened. So Hamas has a history that between two wars, they always again regain. They get more missiles, they get more ammunition, they get more technology, and they're again ready, they're hitting. So last time in 2021 also, Israel bombarded Gaza for 11 days. What happened? Did you finish off Hamas? No. They have again come back. Okay. So this is the problem. So Israel has a serious problem because it does not want the civilian deaths in Palestine. If there are a lot of civilian deaths, then their relationship with the rest of the Gulf countries is going to take a hit. So that is the reason why in the last 2 years, they went a little slow. But then that doesn't still give an excuse how Mossad could not read the attacks. They should have predicted the attacks. They did not predict it. So this is definitely a major failure in the history of Israel, which their ministers have all accepted it. They've never faced this kind of a situation since its formation.
Okay.
And with Hamas, it was always they fire, these people fire, or they do a very quick raid into Gaza, arrest some people and bring them back. That's it. But this kind of a large-scale breach of Israeli security, Israeli border security is unprecedented. It never ever happened in Israel's history. And so they are still struggling. There are still hundreds of Hamas fighters in the towns. They're massacring people. They're raping people. And it's pretty brutal. So I think Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, gave a statement that the first priority is to, first, whoever is within the country, the Hamas who have infiltrated, they need to be eliminated. Second, borders should be secured. Third, impose such costs on Gaza that the ability of Hamas to ever fight back is killed. The 3-4 priorities he kept. The first priority itself is not done. While armed forces are able to now start killing some of these people, but still there are people everywhere across, they have infiltrated, they are killing. So I think the last count by the time we are doing this recording, I understand it has crossed more than 1,300 dead on both sides together. Okay. So probably it could go, my suspicion is it could go maybe 2,000 and more. Because Israel is bombarding Gaza. And Israel has taken a very, very brutal way of handling it. Because their ego is hurt. Their entire security is hurt. The nation is hurt. So they are retaliating very, very hard and big. So what they have done is they've cut off water supply, electricity supply, food supply, everything to Gaza they cut off. 80% of Gaza is poor. So they will suffer a lot. The 20% Hamas, the people who are having some money, have a lot of assets built in Qatar, in Dubai, elsewhere. There are a lot of properties built. In fact, their leader, that guy is sitting in Qatar and giving instructions. So he's very safe there. Victims are the common Gazan residents. But the fact remains that kind of atrocities that these people did on Jews, on Israelis. So the retaliation is also going to be as brutal. So there will be a huge loss of lives on Gazan side also. They're going to go after very hard. Probably after aerial bombardment, the tanks and other armored vehicles and all these things are going to go in. So anybody even who is not having a weapon, but probably they are trying to, let's say, throw stone at Israeli forces, maybe they'll also be shot at. So this is going to be extremely, extremely tough and brutal. So right now 1300, nobody can guess what the final number is going to be. So let's wait and watch how it goes.
Got it, sir. So let's talk about Hamas in a particular context, sir. So who are these Hamas? Where are they from actually? Because like each and every country has their terrorist organization, like Lashkar-e-Toiba to Hezbollah. So who are these Hamas? Like where are they actually from? And how did they raise a war against a country like Israel? Because like Israel is not an ordinary country. Like they have their own intelligence agency. They have their own military that too. Like we know how they would retaliate back also. So how did this Hamas got even more strength to raise a war against Israel, sir?
So essentially, for decades, since 1948, since the formation of Israel, it was a Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, or PLA, or whatever you want to call that. That under Yasser Arafat, they were the ones who were resisting. They first waged, armed rebellion against Israel. Then they went into negotiations. There was peace accord signed between Yasser Arafat and Israel and USA. Then the two-nation theory was propounded. There will be Israel, there will be Palestine, and lots of things have happened. Especially after the death of Yasser Arafat, some hardliners within the organization, they did not like the peaceful approach because they felt that Israel is giving nothing. On the contrary, they are actually occupying a lot of lands, and they're building colonies there, and they're regularizing it. And instead of giving back their lands, Israel is taking more land. So that is the grouse of these people. And they said negotiations won't help. We need to give bloody nose to Israel and Jews. So let's create an organization. So that's how Hamas has come. And there is also Hezbollah. Hezbollah is in the north, in Lebanon and Syria and places like that. And Hamas was in essentially Palestinian areas, be it the West Bank or in Gaza. Mahmoud Abbas replaced Yasser Arafat as the PLO chairman. And now he's currently the Palestinian authorities chairman today, a president kind of a thing. So what happened was in the last elections, which happened long back, Hamas brutally killed all the supporters of Mahmoud Abbas, and they occupied Gaza. They tried to do that in the West Bank also. They had sufficient following in the West Bank also, but somehow Mahmoud Abbas's teams, somehow they managed to control and take it back. But whereas in Gaza, unfortunately, the Al-Fatah or whatever, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas's party, they lost everybody. So the entire Gaza was completely under the control of Hamas for a few years now. And Mahmoud Abbas is actually worried. He is not even holding elections. If he holds elections, maybe he will be defeated even in West Bank.
Okay.
We don't know. Maybe people who are supporting Hamas could, be voted into power. And then Hamas would come and take over, some kind of a stuff. So that fear is there. He's not even holding elections. So this is the current situation. So Hamas essentially is a Sunni organization. And it comes from Palestinians only. They're all Palestinians. They're not from outside. They're not Tajiks, Uzbeks, Afghans. No, sorry. They're Palestinians only. But thing is, they're Sunnis, but they're supported by Shia Iran. See, Sunnis and Shias constantly fight among each other. Hezbollah and Hamas and this thing, in Yemen, you have Houthi rebels.
Houthi rebels, yes.
So all these people are Iran-backed rebels. So what Iran does is, it is somehow attacking the Sunni countries, be it UAE, be it Saudi Arabia. For instance, there was an attack on Saudi petroleum depots. They were all burnt. Similarly, there was an attack on Abu Dhabi airport. Right? Some drone attack happened and bomb blast happened there. So the war was actually between Sunnis and Shias. But then what happened is, Sunnis slowly, they started moving towards Israel. There was Abrahamic Accord under Donald Trump. Morocco, Bahrain, UAE. They joined hands with, this alliance. Then there's a pressure from Joe Biden on Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel and, have a relationship with them. So there is improvement in terms of, though they are still not recognizing. For instance, they allow Israeli flights to use the Saudi Arabia airspace. For instance, flights from our country, Bharat, where they have to go to Israel, Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, they cross, they fly over Saudi Arabian airspace. Earlier, they were not permitted. So we had to go a very circuitous route and then go. Now they're permitting it. Similarly, during the sidelines of G20 summit, you see Bharat and Middle East and Europe signed an agreement where we said there's a corridor we're going to build. Ships will sail from our western coast, Mumbai and other coast. They'll go to UAE. From UAE, trains will travel via Saudi Arabia, Jordan, to the Mediterranean Sea. So from Jordan, where is the Mediterranean Sea? You have to go into Israel.
Got it.
So Israel's name was not mentioned because Saudi Arabia did not have a diplomatic relationship. But this corridor will not succeed unless Israel is part of it. So Benjamin Netanyahu had actually tweeted congratulating this particular move, and he said Israel is going to be benefited and Israel is going to be a good partner for this. That's what he said. So from Haifa port in Israel, then the ships again from the goods will be transferred to ships, and the ships will go towards Greece. From Greece they can go to the rest of the Europe. That is the plan. So because of this pressure, Mohammed bin Salman actually in an interview recently said, yes, we are talking to Israel and modalities are being worked out. Our demands and their demands and, these things are being worked out. We are progressing. Okay. That's what he said. That means sometime soon we may recognize them. That is how it came. Iran gave a warning to Saudi Arabia not to recognize it. So this is obviously, there is an Iranian hand in that we need to be very clear. So now what has happened is, once the attack is on Jews, Yahudis, right? Your factions are all gone. Sunnis and Shias unite. So your factionalism is only when you're fighting amongst yourself.
Got it. When there is a common enemy, you join together.
Correct. When there is a kafir, be it a Hindu or be it a Jew, they will target you. Right? So Christians also, they may target, but Christians is a different animal because it is USA and the Western countries which are actually protecting them. So they may not do directly. But with the Jews and Hindus, they can do it. Okay. That's how their ideology is. So now what has happened is, after these attacks, even Saudi Arabia gave a statement which is supporting Palestinians. And he said these kinds of events have happened because Israel has been torturing Palestinians and not giving justice to them, and that kind of a statement came. That means even a Sunni state has no option. They cannot go in support of Israel because internally there will be a huge unrest. We have seen in the whole of Middle East or whole of Muslim world, huge rallies are being taken out in support of Palestine. And this happened even in Western world. Even in New York, huge rallies are being taken out. It happened, the support is happening even in our country, in Bharat. So what has happened is, for Muslims, they suddenly found a common cause, a hero, which is Hamas. And so nobody could ever defeat Israel or Jews. Now they're defeating. So it's so wonderful for them. But what they're ignoring is the brutality of Hamas, the rapes, the senseless killing they have done. If they had attacked the army and the Israel army died, it's a war between them. But why are you going into the houses of people and shooting innocent people dead? So how do you justify? Either directly or indirectly. Some people are saying, yeah, we condemn violence, we condemn killing, but you see, there should be some kind of a justice, there should be a two nation, Palestinians' rights should be respected. This monkey balancing happens. So this is what is happening there, right? So ultimately, Hamas is a brutal fighting force which is supported, funded by Iran.
Okay.
So probably now the West has to take a decision whether they want to let the Iranian regime survive. It has come to that. So probably after Israel takes control of the situation and they probably inflict a huge damage on Hamas, probably they will target Iran.
Okay.
I am suspecting there could be huge
war?
attacks. I don't know.
Okay.
To what extent Israel is willing to go, I don't know.
Okay.
And Iran is also acquiring a lot of missiles. They have wonderful drone technology. The drones, Shahid drones, which they are able to give to Russia. And Russia is using those drones in Ukraine. And they've enriched their uranium very close to a bomb grade, right? If you let them go, probably in the next maybe a few months, they will be ready to have a nuclear bomb. So probably this is an excuse for the West to go take out the Khamenei regime there and may bring out a regime change. We don't know how it's going to happen. Will they do an internal coup there, or they will actually go bomb the palace out, kill him out and do something? We don't know how it's going to happen. But I'm sure this action is not going to stop with Gaza. There will be huge action. I'm just leaving there. Actions. I don't know how it's going to happen, but action in Iran as well.
Okay. So let's dig into the historical context, Giridharji, because this is not a 1 day or 1 year problem which is happening right now. So there has been a demand, there has been a protest from Palestinian side, as you said, Palestinian PLO and PLA was there. And so what was the problem between the actual problem between both the sides? Let it be Palestine or Israel. What was the problem? Because it has taken the extreme position and both the sides are having a war. One side is taking an arm, the other side is giving the reply to them. Okay. So what was the historical context and basis of this Palestine problem, or let's say the Palestine-Israel problem?
So right now, people want you to believe that this problem is more of a territory issue. It was Palestinian land, which was forcefully taken away from them, and a country called Israel was created. Right? So they say Israel had no right to exist. This was our lands. You came brutally, took it away from us, and then you have given it to Israel. So we will throw Israel into Mediterranean Sea. We don't want them here. So they say that this is about the rights of Palestinians, about their lands, about their human rights, and this is the narrative that the current people give. If that be the case, look at the brutality of killing Jews. Right? Why did they do that? Then you have to go far deeper into history to understand this psyche. Right? So essentially, the religion of Islam, since its inception, hates Jews.
Okay.
So this comes from the theology of Islam itself. So Prophet Muhammad had asked a lot of, there were lots of Jews in Saudi Arabia. He asked them to convert to his religion. Of course, they refused. When they refused, initially what he did was, like in Medina, he struck an agreement with them. They said, if somebody is going to attack us, you and Jews and Muslims will defend Medina. So he entered into an agreement with them. So when Quraysh tribe and others came to attack Muhammad, Jews actually supported Muslims, and collectively they were able to defeat the enemy. When Muhammad started gaining his strength, when he became more powerful, then he broke that promise. And he gave them an option. Either you convert or I'm going to kill you. He brutally killed a lot of people. And especially the men are killed and women are taken as slaves or sex slaves. In fact, one of his wives is the widow of one of the chief of one of the villages. Right? So that village chief was killed, and his father was killed, and immediately the same night that lady was married off to Muhammad, right? So that is how it is. So Jews resisted converting to Islam. So what he has done is to create fear in them and to let his followers, do whatever force, brutality on the Jews to forcefully convert them. He put a lot of ayats in his Quran and Hadith, his actions, whatever he has done. They are the theological basis of Kafir and Yahudis. The hatred stems from them. It's nothing new. So later on, what happened is when Islam gained more power, somebody like Suleiman the Great, a lot of their big caliphs and sultans, they invaded Judea or Israel. Israel is a name now we are calling it. It was called Judea then. They invaded it, and or Palestine. Somebody wants to call it Philistine. Somebody wants to call it Judea, whatever. That area was overrun by these people. Even Jerusalem was taken over. Jerusalem had very, very, very few Jews who were protecting it. But their temple was destroyed. And on top of it, temple dome, whatever, Al-Aqsa Mosque was built. So Prophet Muhammad never visited Jerusalem. But he wrote saying that when he was going to the heaven, when he was coming back from the heaven, he went in a horse with wings. That is what he said. And when he came back, the hooves of the legs of the horse touched down in that place in Al-Aqsa. He said that. So when Islam came to power, they destroyed that Jewish temple and they built this Al-Aqsa Mosque. So there is no theological basis whatsoever to claim Al-Aqsa Mosque. So that place was holy to Jews for thousands of years. It was invaded by Romans, by Christians. So many people destroyed it, but they kept on rebuilding it. But latest victim is Islam. Once Islam came, they destroyed it. Now they have a Wailing Wall. The old, the temple's one wall is remaining. The rest of it is all taken over. So Jews go to that wall and pray. And they can visit the Al-Aqsa Mosque, but they cannot pray there, because that is under Israeli control. So what happens is whenever Jews come there, they do stone pelting, they do a lot of stuff. And worldwide they say that Jews are, Israel is an aggressor here, they do all that. So as I said, it comes in their theology itself. So the hate for Jews has no logic. Still they hate. And so what said is these people used to charge exorbitant rate, compounded interest rates. They used to torture people, take out all their properties. All these blah blah stories they were given. And so stories were created that Jews are bloodsuckers, all kinds of stuff. Jews are very smart people, right from the beginning. They are extremely, innovative. And they are extremely entrepreneurial. So they created a lot of businesses. They saw this business from the East, especially from our country, Bharat, or maybe from Indonesia, China. So this trade, when it has to go into Europe, it used to pass through their lands. So they stuck this chain, supply chain system. Wonderfully, they exploited it, and they were bankers, trusted bankers. So people, you don't need to carry so much of cash. You come deposit there, that kind of a stuff. They created this kind of a environment for this international trade. So what has happened is, that's the reason why you see in Islam, there is a prohibition to collect interest. In fact, there is no interest. Because interest is a crime, it is a sin, which Yahudis do. So you see the theological basis.
Got it.
So that same thing continued, and you see even today, that unbridled hatred. Even so-called normal, respectable Muslims, very well educated in high positions in democratic countries, they hate Jews.
Okay.
You see what's happened in New York. You see what's happening in many other countries, right? So their hate for Jews comes from their books and from their theology, from their founder itself. That we need to understand. So this is something which has not happened in 1948 because Jews have been given a country. And there is another Jewish village. So it is all mixed up. So that was very difficult to defend. So as soon as this country was formed, 6 countries invaded Israel. They didn't have an army, they didn't have a government, nothing. Suddenly people are coming and they don't want to exist. So that was a major setback for them on day one. So their struggles and all, there are a lot of wonderful books. There is one book written by Larry Collins and Dominic LaPierre, which is called Oh Jerusalem. One should read that book. It's wonderful. How a nation built, how they struggled at the time of formation, how they were attacked brutally, how they survived, how they defeated these forces. And when they declared a ceasefire, the problem was when these people had to go to Jerusalem, they had to go through certain enclaves which were Palestinian or Arab enclaves. Whenever these people used to go, in spite of the ceasefire, they used to attack them. So what these people did is, during the ceasefire time, they prepared for the next war. They created an alternate route. It was a very tough one through some rocky terrain and all. They created that route. When the ceasefire was over, when the fights restarted, they were expecting the Israeli army to go here so they could attack. But they went to the other side and they retained Jerusalem. So they did all these wonderful things. And Entebbe airport, we know what happened during Idi Amin. And we know what happened to the Munich Olympics, they were attacked. I'm not going into all these details. But Israel...
We'll come to that later. We'll come to that. I want that separate part later. Yes, Ji.
So overall what I'm saying is, Israel is a nation which has since its birth struggled to survive. And so what it has taught is, it has taught it that only a powerful man can survive.
Got it.
So they focused on technology and power.
Got it.
So that's how Israel has survived today. Today, whatever problems they are facing, obviously it has to do with some challenges in their society, in their structure.
Got it. Let's talk about the reactions throughout the world as well because of this war between the Israel and the terrorist group of Hamas. I'll start by asking, what is the reaction from the Arab world? Like, let's go into the Western world later. Like, what is the reaction from the Arab world, Giridharji?
Arab world, as I said, the moment it becomes a Yahudi versus Muslim, all of them, come together. So Sunnis and Shias, everybody is now standing for Palestine, right? They're up against Israel. As I said, even Saudi Arabia gave a statement, supporting Palestinians and Hamas and things like that. Some countries gave, saying some judgments like, no, we condemn the violence, this should not have happened. There should be immediate ceasefire, there should be negotiations. But, they use this word but. Israel has been torturing these people, denying them basic human rights, not allowing them to have another country. So, because of that, these things are happening. So it is time that Israel gives them Palestine. There should be a separate country of Palestine. So some people are narrating this.
From the Arab world.
From the Arab world. Some Arab countries are kept silent.
Okay.
Right? Especially in Africa, a lot of countries are kept silent. So there are different reactions in all these things, right? Hypocrisy of first rate. Because when the same kind of brutalities are unleashed on Muslims of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang, East Turkestan, none of these people talk. And the Arab delegation went to Xinjiang under the supervision of the Chinese government. And they came back and said, the Muslims there are having beautiful lifetime. That kind of a nonsense they gave.
If I'm not wrong, Benjamin Netanyahu was one such person who was condemning the Kurds attacks which is happening in Turkey as well. The tweet has been surrounding in the past 2 days while this war is happening. So they
Absolutely. It's absolute hypocrites, The Kurds are split between 3-4 countries.
Exactly.
Some part of Turkey, some part of Syria, some part of Iraq, like that. They're spread across 3-4 countries. Majority areas. Who is talking about it? Nobody talks about it. Similarly, in countries like Pakistan, who think they are the custodians of Islam, right? They have declared Ahmadiyas as non-Muslims. And if Ahmadiyas go into their mosques to pray, a mob will come, attack them, burn their Qurans, burn their, mosques, attack them brutally. Imran Khan had appointed an excellent, economist as his advisor. Within a month or so, he realized that he's an Ahmadi. He's a Muslim, but still an Ahmadi.
Got it.
So he threw him out.
Okay.
So absolute hypocrites, right? So which form of Islam are you talking about? Within Islam, there are Sunnis, Shias, Bohras, Khojas, Salafis, you name it, Deobandis, Barelvis, Pasmandas, the divisions are huge. This many divisions. Which one is correct? Sunni Barelvis don't like Sunni Deobandis. When one of them goes to Saudi Arabia, they get them arrested there. Both are Sunnis. So that is the kind of a hatred they have. So they are absolute hypocrites. See, look what's happening in Pakistan today. There are no Kafirs there. There are no Hindus there. One person is as good as gone. They are killing each other only. They are all Muslims, but they are killing each other. So the brutality of that particular theology is what we need to understand. So Arab world dare not go against that sentiment, popular sentiment, which is anti-Jews, because that comes from their books. And their theology.
Okay.
The ruler cannot say, no, you forget the book. Let's Jews and I, both of us, let's be friends. Nobody's going to listen.
Okay, so they are not, or tomorrow or later also, they won't be having a very good friendly relationship with Jews.
See, they may establish some kind of a truce. For instance, this India, Middle East, Europe corridor is going to come up. Similarly, Saudi Arabia will get a lot of benefits if they recognize Israel. Maybe they will be allowed to have their civil nuclear facilities. Maybe they will be allowed to have an agreement with USA like NATO agreement. It's all a lot of benefits are going to come. So for the benefits, they will kind of slowly move towards, making friends with Israel. But when these things happen, those relationships will be under strain. For instance, UAE, Israel and Jordan have an agreement. Jordan has vast deserts. So what they do is they have put up solar panels there. Technology is given by Israel. Then Israel filters the seawater and sends water to Jordan for their use in their gardens, for drinking, industry, whatever. And this whole project is funded by UAE. So they entered into wonderful agreements, right? So these things may happen because at a rulers level, they want to normalize things. Like MBS is trying to normalize. He is finished. He's arrested all these moral police and all that stuff. He's finished off. And whoever had extreme ideologies, all those Maulvis are behind bars. And then he has introduced music, dance, cinema, everything into Saudi Arabia, which was unthinkable. Nobody ever thought Saudi Arabia will have these things. And women now they can go without their male companion. Just imagine, till MBS came, a woman cannot go out alone. Either her father, brother, son, only these people have to accompany her. If they don't accompany, then if it is a friend or some other relative, they will book her for adultery. That kind of a system. So MBS has come and changed it. Now the syllabus is having Rama and Mahabharata also. So slowly he is trying to de-radicalize the society.
Okay.
But unfortunately what has happened is when these things flare up, the popular sentiment will take a different turn.
Got it.
So it will be progress, but I don't expect the progress to be permanent or irreversible.
Okay. Got it. So the Western reaction and UK is in full support of Israel and as well as US also. So what is the reaction from the Western world? As well as we saw that Canada Prime Minister had a tweet that I spoke with the UAE's chief and discussed about India's problem as well. So what is going on in the West and how West sees this problem? And we all know that what Trump did with the Iran nuclear deal as such, and he is trying to neglect Iran from the mainstream politics or his power politics as well. What is the Western world's reactions, Giridharji?
So West again are hypocrites, right? Condemning it itself doesn't matter, right? So ultimately what you do on the ground is what that matters. Are you able to inflict pain on the Arab world? You are not. So you're giving statements, public statements, not backed by action on the ground, is not going to help you. You could have told Qatar, for instance, because there are American bases there. There are bases in Saudi Arabia. You could have told these people, stop Hamas. If you don't stop Hamas, we're going to take a bigger action. They could have done that. They could have said, of course, America has moved its fleet towards Israel. They have done that. But you see, ultimately, you should inflict severe amount of pain to these people. That they're not happening. Condemning, everybody will condemn. Right? Kadi-ninda, who cares? Ultimately, we need action on the ground. So let's see how they're going to stand by Israel when civilians die. Okay. Because in Gaza, when they're going to attack, a lot of civilians are going to die. Children are going to die. Maybe the schools will be bombed because these people are using schools to fire the rockets. So when you retaliate and hit, probably that's a school. Children may die. So when these reports come out, let's see what happens to the Western governments. Will they still support Israel or they will talk about human rights? Right? Hypocrites are frustrated. So this is how their reaction is. Okay. They're all busy with Ukraine. Right? Ukraine is their priority now. They don't care for the rest of them. So this Israel-Hamas issue is a pain for them. It's an avoidable nuisance for them. So you see what has happened. Joe Biden, when this attack happened, when Jews are being killed in their own cities, in their own houses, very brutally. What was Joe Biden doing? He hosted a party for his staff, doing a barbecue party he's hosting. So the whole country, USA, everybody condemned Joe Biden. This is the time you are supposed to stand in solidarity with Israel. What are you doing? Enjoying a party? So for them, this is a routine thing. Okay, you'll fight, big deal. So sorry, that is not what is needed of the West. And look with Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is an absolute papu. So he is, for him, he has been so thoroughly exposed and he has no locus standi in what he's talking. He goes to UAE leader and says, I raised about India. Have you arrested the fellow who killed Nichar? First you arrest that fellow, no? Who is that fellow who killed Hardeep Singh Nichar? First you arrest that fellow. Then you say, look, this fellow is linked to XYZ or he's been instructed by ABC, whatever. You're not even arrested that fellow. How do you say India is involved? Absolute hypocrite. He's been thoroughly exposed. But C is a Western world. White skin guys. So for them, white supremacy comes in first. So publicly, obviously the US and others will have to support him. So they kept on giving stupid statements like India should cooperate with Canada. What will they cooperate? Where is the guy who's killed? First you arrest him? No. You are unable to arrest the fellow who killed. How do you say that India is involved? When will you say somebody is involved? When you are able to arrest the fellow, identify. Say for instance, even for us, there are some killers who came into Mumbai. We killed them. One fellow we caught. Maybe their handlers are in Pakistan. We had transcripts. We had evidence. Then we said so-and-so is involved. Maybe somebody will kill here and cross the border and go away. But we'll still identify that fellow. CCTV footage is there. Cell phone connections are there. Some evidence will be there. You connect. And then you say, this is the fellow who killed. Show me the fellow who was killed. You're not even sure the fellow was killed, but still you are ranting it. So his politics were that he wanted to take a high pedestal in Khalistan. So he wanted the Khalistani vote to shift from Jagmeet Singh to his own party. Got it. So that he doesn't depend on Jagmeet. Mm-hmm. So that was the politics he tried to play. It spectacularly boomeranged on his face. Right? So nobody is willing to, for instance, Rishi Sunak never mentioned India's name. He said everybody should respect territorial integrity. Investigation has to be professional. That's all he made a statement. First investigate, then we'll see what happens. So when Israel and Hamas are fighting so horribly, what are your priorities? And look at the kind of a dumb act that he did. He brought in that 90-odd-year-old Nazi into the Canadian Parliament and everybody clapped for him. Right? Ukrainian Nazi. Then he had to publicly apologize. Unconditionally apologize. But he didn't resign. Look at his hypocrisy again. He made the speaker resign. And his own family, the Trudeau family's trust, awarded that man a few years back. It's not that suddenly on that day he came. So that means either you're absolutely dumb or you're doing this on purpose. You thought the whole world is idiot. You can do whatever you want. Right? The West is like this. The entire West is in their own world. So ultimately, sadly, Israel has to fight its own battle. It's fighting its own battle. That is a big lesson for us. Tomorrow we have a problem with Pakistan or China. We have to fight our battles. None of these people are going to come. And we have seen how these people have ditched many countries. See what has happened to Pakistan in 1971. America, they entered into a war thinking America will come and help them. So they sent their 6th fleet or whatever. And then Russia sent their fleet into Indian Ocean. The USA kept quiet. They allowed Indians to go bombard, massacre their entire tank fleet and their air force, everything we finish off in Pakistan. So that is how America will come to you as an ally. Who did they support? At some point in time, Saddam Hussein was their ally. Gaddafi was their ally. What did they do? So that is West. West are absolutely hypocrites. So Benjamin Netanyahu has realized it. Especially in Obama era. Democrats, for instance, we have a problem. Israel has a problem. Bharat has a problem. Democrats are always, they think they're liberal. They do all kinds of nonsense. So they are against us. Right? Republicans are also against us because conservative Republicans are church-going evangelical Christians. For them, Bharat is non-Christian organization, not Christian country. So we had problems. But slowly, Republicans are now more friendly to us than Democrats. Obama has done this nonsense in Gulf. He struck a nuclear deal with Iran. And, Benjamin Netanyahu kept on saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But he didn't bother. So now Trump came and reversed it. So you can't have a policy which is keep on flip-flopping when every president changes. Right? So Israel has decided we'll do on our own. We'll do what we have to do. What they did is they did a Mossad operation in the power plant, the nuclear power plant of Iran. They went deep inside the tunnel and they used the tiles, The tiles there are bombs. They detonated remotely and they blasted out the whole site.
Okay.
Similarly, all their blueprints to make the centrifuges, to create the nuclear plant, all of them physically were, taken away from there and brought to Israel.
Okay.
So they did some wonderful things. So now they don't know whether they will get support from America or not, or the West. So probably they will take their own action in Iran.
Got it.
That's my take on the West.
Okay.
West is only making noises.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, they're trying to play a double game.
Got it, sir. Let's talk about. But this is the two last questions which I'm going to ask. Like one is like India's stand and the Congress stand. So what is your take on that? Because India has stood with Israel, and we saw the tweet of PM condemning the Hamas terrorist actions as well. And on the other side, we have Congress, which has, as the time we speak, at that moment, Congress has passed a resolution supporting Palestine as well. So what's your take on both of this, Giridharji?
So the country's stated policy is we recognize a two-nation theory. And we want Palestine to have their own country. We recognize their rights, and we support their, as the government calls it, their genuine right to have their own country and freedom, right? So that is a stated policy, and we have not changed it. Only thing what Modi ji did after he came to power is he de-hyphenated them. Like earlier governments, when of course prime ministers never went, but let's say some minister went, foreign minister went, or foreign secretary went, or whoever went, some senior leader from our country went to Israel. What they did was, they also went to Palestine and came back, trying to say that, no, we are also, sensitive to you. But Modi ji went to Israel and he did not go to Palestine, he came back. Next, he went to Palestine only, he did not go to Israel and he came back. So he's trying to say that we will de-hyphenate these two. Similarly, we have also stopped anybody who wants to come to our country to go to Pakistan and come. Or come here and then go to Pakistan. We stopped. Mohammed bin Salman wanted to do that. When he was coming here, he wanted to go to Pakistan.
Even this time also, G20 also.
This time also he planned, but I'm saying earlier, when he planned to come, we clearly told him, no, you are not welcome. So what he did is he went to Pakistan. Then he went back to Saudi Arabia for just 2-3 hours and he came back to our country.
Okay.
So we de-hyphenated, right? This time, of course, a different story. What will he go and do there? There is no elected government. Whom will he talk to? What will he do there? So it's absolute failure. So he didn't go for that. Okay, that's a different thing. But our approach to Palestine is that. So this is a stand which Congress had taken a long back. Modi ji came and changed it to de-hyphening these two relationships. And our relationship with Israel has grown multifold. He was the first prime minister who was gone there. Otherwise, prime ministers never went because they felt that Muslims may get hurt. Maybe, Palestinians hurt. Arab world may get hurt. All kinds of fears they had. Some of the fears were actually correct also because these countries were, whoever has friendly relationship with Israel, they used to charge exorbitant rates on oil. They used to harass them. We also face some harassment. So probably the governments had a necessity to do this balancing. Not anymore now. Now it's a different world. In fact, Saudi Arabia was the number one supplier for us some time back. Iran was again a significant supplier. Today, both of them are not in the top list. The biggest we are going to get is getting from Russia. Second is Iraq. Third is USA. So we have multiple sources now. So we can play our game differently, right? So this is what is happening there. So our stand is that we support the Palestinian cause. But Modi ji's tweet is very clearly saying that the attack is not from the government of Palestine. This is an attack by a terrorist organization called Hamas. Terrorist organization Hamas is not Palestinian government. That is the distinction we have clearly set. We are not saying that, this is again some Palestinian struggle, all that nonsense we are not saying. For instance, Kashmir issue when it comes Pakistan and China, they say genuine struggle of Kashmiris, that kind of stuff. He didn't use that word. He very clearly said terrorists. So we are very clear in that this kind of a clarity we never had before. First time from the Prime Minister's mouth we are hearing a very clear, unambiguous statement. Now let's look at Congress's statement. Congress yesterday they condemned, the brutality, the killings and all they said. They immediately realized that they're going to have a problem with their Muslim vote base. Today, immediately they came back and passed a resolution saying, if we support the Palestinian cause, There should be negotiations, blah, blah, whatever. All that stuff they give. It's monkey balancing, essentially. Again, their waterways. They don't want to lose their waterways. And so they're doing all this nonsense. So I don't think this is the time for us to talk about the Palestinian cause. This is the time for us to stand solid behind Israel and let the nation of Israel survive. Let them fight these brutes. Let them fight these beasts and bring some kind of a stability and peace in that region. That should be our top priority, right? Negotiations have been going on for a long time. It's not anything new. We will, of course, encourage all the parties to sit and talk. So, but if somebody goes and kills people, we will be the first to say that that country has a right to retaliate and defend itself, which is the principle we followed. When they came and attacked us in Odi or Pathankot, what did we do? We did surgical strikes. This problem can be resolved.
Got it. So one last question. So Israel is one such country which never dealt with terrorists, I would say. So negotiate or have a deal with terrorists or go in a silent way with them. So they have retaliated back, as you perfectly mentioned, the Operation Entebbe and the Munich Olympic attacks as well. So that was one such example that how powerful the organization of Israel and how powerful their intelligence is today. Whichever organizations we refer, we give a benchmark of how Mossad does all these things, like so and so. So can we compare that Israel then and now, or is still the fierce Israel remaining the same till today?
Definitely, this operation has exposed Mossad, exposed Israel Defense Forces and their government. Obviously, the all-powerful Mossad has failed here. Let Mossad has to accept it. There are no intelligence. The attack is coming, and the attack was so brutal. So obviously, they suffered a lot. Fine. So that's one part. But Israel of those days versus Israel of now is different. Now they're trying to court all the Arab countries into friendship. So their approach is different. So there are issues, challenges in terms of that, right? They don't want to go take some dramatic measures, violent measures and all that stuff. So what they're doing is they're even negotiating with terrorists. See, in 2021, when there was a 11-day war, bombardment, ceasefire was declared. What do you mean by ceasefire? It has to be negotiated. Obviously, Hamas and Israel...
Like ending of the war, like that, concluding the war.
So, both of them have agreed to hold a ceasefire. And the ceasefire was broken only now. So, 2 years you had a ceasefire. That means you have negotiated with them.
Got it.
Right? So, it's not that you are not negotiating. Mm-hmm. They are negotiating today. And probably now negotiation has to be very intense now. Because hundreds of Israeli citizens are in their custody. So, probably they'll use Qatar, I don't know who all, Saudi, UAE, God knows who all are going to be involved to get them released. So, in exchange, Hamas may want some freedom. Whether Israel is willing to give that freedom, whether Israel says, okay, my citizens are there, let them die, but I'm not going to give you any concession. We don't know. We have to see how this is going to pan out. So, the Israel of today is more accommodative, more diplomatic and that kind of stuff. It is not as brutal as it was then. That is why they suffered now. If they were that strong, so brutal, probably they would have stopped this. They could have done something different. Right? That's a fundamental thing. Second, internally, their society is also having serious problems. So what has happened is almost every government, the previous government to Benjamin Netanyahu was Naftali Bennett. Naftali Bennett was also a coalition government. Benjamin Netanyahu's government is also a coalition government. Now Benjamin Netanyahu's government is supported by ultra-rightists. Who want to throw out all Palestinians out, right? And occupy more Palestinian lands. That kind of an extreme right-wingers are also there in Benjamin Netanyahu's government. So how does he balance? So it's a small country. How can so many parties be there, and how can there be coalitions where elected government is dying every 2 years, 1 year? So this is not possible. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu has been a prime minister for a long time, but still he had his constraints in terms of all these factions. Now you look at what the supporting parties, right-wing parties of Benjamin Netanyahu are asking. They want to have some kind of control on in their judiciary. Because judiciary was sitting on every government decision and they were harassing, the government. So these people said enough is enough. For instance, whatever government passes, they are rejecting it. They are saying this is not valid. Even administrative decisions, not legal. Administrative decisions also, judiciary is involving. So they said, no, let's have some, we will have some power authority on them. If certain legislation are passed by a majority of the house, the court cannot turn it down.
Okay.
So like that, they wanted to bring some amendments to the resolution. So what has happened is, the so-called left wing, they unleashed a huge amount of unrest in the society. So there were dharnas, their airport was captured. People could not even go from Tel Aviv airport into the city. And Benjamin Netanyahu was targeted big time. And the courts have kept on corruption case against him. They are not solving it.
Okay.
They just kept him just to harass.
Dragging it.
Right? So all these were used. And, the society is completely fragmented. But whereas unless you are united, you will not be able to face a bigger enemy for you.
Got it.
So today they realized, after this attack, now their opposition party said, forget politics. Who cares for politics now? Our country is under attack. So we will all unite together and do it.
Got it.
And Naftali Bennett himself, the previous prime minister, immediately previous prime minister, less than a year back, he has now worn the army uniform and he has gone as a volunteer in the army now. So everybody is now joining together, including their opposition parties. So that is how the spirit should be. When your nation is attacked, keep the politics aside, join together and then fight. Whereas see what's happened. When Balakot was attacked, when Uri was attacked, when Pathankot was attacked, when we did a surgical strike, your opposition is asking for evidence. So look at when you're buying Rafale, which is the only thing which China fears. You're saying Chokidar Chaur hai. There's Gotala in this. 60,000 crore Gotala. What nonsense. The entire pie for Anil Ambani group is 800 crores. Entire 800 crores can be Gotala. Assuming 10%, it needs 80 crores. Where is 60,000 crores? 88. So they want to somehow stop Bharat from becoming powerful, which can pose a challenge to our enemies. So look at the attitude of opposition parties here. When we actually beat the Chinese in Yangtze, we got intelligence from USA that they are going to invade. So we just had 20-30 people there. We sent 300 army immediately. So when the Chinese came, they were surprised. We were ready. Our army was ready. We gave them black and blue. In fact, some of them would have died also. The kind of hitting that we did. And they raised a white flag. We arrested some of their PLA soldiers. They raised a white flag. Sorry, please return. So we said, get lost and don't again come. So we had an upper hand there. Right? But Mr. Rahul Gandhi comes and says, "Hamari sena ko peet rahe hain." They're trashing our army. So this is not the way opposition should behave.
What?
When it comes to the national security, when it comes to the national issues, we should unite. You can have your politics internally. So in Israel, we are seeing that. Their society is completely fragmented. And they had a lot of divisions, a lot of unrest, differences of opinion, whatnot. But today they're all united. They're fighting for a common cause. I think we need to learn some lessons from there.
Got it. Thank you so much, Giridharji. I hope in upcoming days, so whenever you come to Delhi also, so just give us some time to discuss the ongoing, let's say, international issues, because you are a master in it. So we should learn many things from you, as well as the our generation should also learn many things from you. Thank you so much for your time, Giridharji. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.